You read the title? We're going to be talking about how strong Naruto is without Kurama, more specifically accurate to the lore of Naruto, because here's the thing, a lot of people think that Naruto is incredibly weak now, but he got weaker as Hokage, that he's roughly back to pain level arcs of strength, but that is just simply not true. That is far from the truth. So let's start talking about this stuff, folks. So obviously we gotta get the most obvious things out of the way, starting with the fact that he is in Uzumaki, okay? We know the Uzumaki clan by default has insane vitality, ridiculous levels of chakra, insane stamina as well. And we also are aware that they have sealing prowess. That is one of their main specialties as well. So yeah, Naruto as an Uzumaki alone already has far more chakra than most shinobi, even now. And it's not even a question. So people thinking that he doesn't have hardly any chakra anymore or something because he lost the Nine Tails, nah, man. He's an Uzumaki. He's got more than enough chakra. He still has more chakra than probably anyone in the entire Boruto-verse still. Here's another obvious thing that we gotta get out of the way as well. It's also the fact that Naruto is a reincarnation of Ashura Otsutsuki. Okay, this is something that I think a lot of people tend to forget. It doesn't really do too much in terms of like maybe special abilities or jutsu or anything like that, but it also grants the user insane chakra reserves. So quite literally doubling his Uzumaki chakra reserves just because he's a Ashura reincarnation. And again, more vitality and everything, so he's even harder to kill. And one thing that it does grant, which is going to be incredibly helpful without the Nine Tails, is the fact that being a reincarnation of Ashura does indeed give him some form of regenerative powers. Now, is that comparable to having a tailed beast in you? Maybe, but maybe not. But regardless, to some extent, Naruto does still have regenerative powers, which is going to be really good. He's going to heal up from injuries quicker, which is a big aspect. Okay, another thing. Simply put, Naruto is also a perfect Toad Sage. Sage mode is incredible. You're looking at roughly a 10 times boost to your base stats. So if your base stats are already off the charts, amp that with Sage mode, and you're a completely different beast. Also, being a perfect Toad Sage grants Naruto a lot of sensory abilities, right? His perception is a lot better. He also has access to Frog Kata. He has a petrification defense. Basically what this means is if he's facing an opponent while in Sage mode or gathering Sage chakra, if an opponent tries to absorb too much natural energy that they can't control, they will quite literally become a toad and turn to stone. And something else I think a lot of people also forget, being the perfect sage that he is also able to add senjutsu to his normal ninjutsu abilities, like his Rasengan, for example. Okay, let's get something out of the way once more. Naruto did not, and I repeat, did not get weaker when he became Hokage. This is just complete and utter bullshit that people seem to think this. Here's the thing. Naruto trained extensively post Fourth Great Ninja War, right? So he has an insane increase in his base stats. That's right. The buff to his base stats is immense from training all that time after the war. So he is significantly stronger in base mode than he was back then. And also, we cannot forget that Naruto has also mastered Sage mode to a higher degree. Alright, now we gotta start talking about some of his feats, especially in base mode, because it's kind of crazy, folks. First off, episode 1, he created 1,000 shadow clones just like that. Look, this is something that no normal shinobi can do. And, you know, some people argue that he was influenced by the Nine Tails in order to do that, but I see no recollection of that ever happening. So Naruto, base chakra reserves, no Kurama, no influence from the Nine Tails whatsoever, created 1,000 shadow clones just like that. And I mean, it's not exactly a feat that he ever does again, I get that, but it's just the fact that he created 1,000 shadow clones as a kid with just his chakra alone. Obviously, with his massive base stats increased, chakra included, of course he can still do this with ease if he needed to, but it's just the fact that he literally did that. Like, how many shinobi can say, like, they create 1,000 shadow clones, right? Okay, next thing we gotta talk about is the fact that he created the Rasen Shuriken. Now, why is this such a feat? Well, first off, one, it took the 4th Hokage years to develop just the Rasengan, and with the rest of his lifespan, he wasn't even able to add his own change in chakra nature to it. So, Naruto doing this within like a week or so already had surpassed the 4th Hokage by a long shot. But that's not the main point. The main thing is what the Rasen Shuriken is capable of doing. People forget this, but the Rasen Shuriken can literally, not just can, it will literally destroy your opponent on a cellular level, right? Okay, your nerves, all that severed, destroyed. I mean, look what it did to poor Kakazu, right? And it's just something that you can't ignore. Naruto created this S-rank forbidden jutsu that can destroy your cells to the point where you can't even move anymore, completely paralyzing you. During the pain arc, while his Sage Mode was on cooldown time, he was able to keep up in Taijutsu with the Deva Path of Pain.
Bring it!
Step back, kid, and let me take care of this guy.
I'm gonna enter Sage Mode!
What?
Get back, Chief Toad! I don't want my Rasen Shuriken to hit you! Go!
Which, as we already know, that's a Rinnegan user right there. Bro is keeping pace for a brief amount of time in base against a Rinnegan user. Like, I mean, that's pretty impressive stuff, man. Again, look at Kakashi. Kakashi was struggling against the Paths of Pain with a Sharingan. And you're probably thinking, like, oh yeah, all that stuff you just mentioned, yeah, that's part 1 Naruto, that's Naruto Shippuden. We gotta talk about Boruto, man, because, you know, that's what we really need to get into, and I get it. I get what you're saying. You don't need to go throwing the torches at me just yet, because we're gonna talk about this right now, and that is the fact that base Hokage Naruto, with 50% of his chakra drained, was able to swap hands with a fused Momoshiki. That's right, this man is blocking, dodging, and tanking attacks from a literal god in base mode with half of his chakra drained. So he is not at 100% whatsoever, and he's keeping up. This is one of his most impressive feats. I mean, that shows just how far he's really come. We also cannot forget that it was base Hokage Naruto's massive Rasengan that he gave to Boruto to defeat fused Momoshiki. And what's more, Naruto was impaled by the black chakra rods, which is supposed to completely disrupt your flow of chakra, right? Just completely bypassed that nature and created that massive Rasengan that was responsible for defeating fused Momoshiki. And don't think we can forget about the time he was just toying around with Delta. I mean, this man is effortlessly blocking, dodging, and then just with ease slamming Delta, super slamming her into the ground instantly in the fight like it's nothing. And yeah, I mean, granted, yeah, we all know he used, you know, Sage Mode, Chakra Cloak, we know this. But at the start of the fight, it wasn't like that. Just with ease, he was able to pin her to the ground, and that's pretty impressive considering the fact that Delta is somebody who is supposed to scale to a 6-path Sage Mode Naruto from the War Arc, so that is not weak by any means. And we also gotta bring up the fact that once Delta was pinned down, and absorbed the Rasengan that Naruto was gonna use with her legs, which are scientific ninja tools, she was gonna go impale Naruto, right? But Naruto was able to sense that oncoming attack and jump back. And he wasn't even in Sage mode, so his base sensory abilities are massively increased as well. Again, another demonstration here with the black chakra rods is when Jigen had both Naruto and Sasuke impaled. I mean, they're literally skewered to the ground, right? And Naruto still is able to move and create shadow clones in order to buy Sasuke the time he needed to escape.
Get out of here, Sasuke!
And get the intel from Jigen to the rest of the village. Again, these black rods disrupt your flow of chakra. They're supposed to essentially render you unable to move, and Naruto is creating clones and everything like it's nothing while being impaled by these rods. And if you go back to the Pain arc, he couldn't even break out of those rods without the rage from the Nine Tails. And don't think I wouldn't bring this up, and that's the fact that he's incredibly fast as well. And what do I mean by that? Well, here's the thing. In the Naruto Retsuden novel, right, a deathly sick Naruto who is unable to mold chakra whatsoever, practically making him a normal human, was able to dodge a photon beam, which is literal light speed. This man is deathly sick, can't use chakra, and he's able to avoid a photon beam. And that's how fast he is unable to use chakra. Imagine how fast he truly is when he is able to use chakra. Something else that this man has also done to show off his durability is he did take Kawaki's Karma Discharge Blast, point blank range, head on, in base, and he wasn't affected. No bruises, no scratches, no dust, no nothing. He was completely unfazed. And the thing with that discharge attack is obviously, yeah, I mean, it does indeed scale to how much, chakra Kawaki is absorbed and all that kind of stuff. But still, that blast is something that will cause major damage, right? And Naruto took it head on like it was nothing at all. Something else we gotta talk about is when he sparred with Stage 1 Karma Seal Boruto prior to fighting Delta. And I bring this up for the simple fact that, keep in mind, at this point, Boruto using the Karma Seal in this point, he was a low-tier Otsutsuki vessel, right? Who got a lot of buffs in his stats when he started sparring with Naruto, right? And Naruto was not hit even once. I mean, he was able to react to the speed, right? He was able to be like, oh, okay, wait a minute. He's faster now, but he was unharmed. Naruto did not take a single bit of damage. And I mean, I just thought I'd throw that in there. I mean, yeah, we know that, like, the Karma Seal's not fully developed at this point. We don't technically know all that much about it, but regardless of how you look at it, Boruto was a low-tier Otsutsuki vessel when he was using that Stage 1 Karma Seal, either way you look at it, and he was still unable to lay a hand on Naruto, in base mode nonetheless. Kind of throwing it back to Naruto Shippuden really quick, something that I think a lot of people completely forget is in the closing stages of his fight with Pain, right, when he's in base mode, Pain uses the almighty push and Naruto just has a wall of shadow clones just like that. He was able to create a wall of shadow clones that withstood Pain's almighty push.
Using shadow clones as backup? You with no answers and no solutions! Just give up!
Before eventually defeating him. Now, we already know the almighty push quite literally destroyed the Hidden Leaf Village in a single blast, but that's not as relevant. Obviously, Pain is worn down at this point. Nagato is exhausted. He just used the planetary devastation. He doesn't have a lot of strength left, but the almighty push, even if it's not used at full power, is still a very destructive and powerful jutsu, and Naruto was able to withstand that with just a wall of shadow clones. Alright, now we gotta talk about some of the feats he has with just Sage mode, right? But before we get into all those feats, right, we do have to quickly understand the fact that Naruto, yes, can instantly enter Sage mode. I don't care what the manga says or what the anime shows. anything like that. I don't care what that says whatsoever. Naruto can and has manifested Sage Mode in an instant like Hashirama, okay? Prior to entering the 4th Great Ninja War, he came out of that area when he was taming the Nine Tails, instantly entered Sage Mode, and could sense the war around him, right? And again, in the last Naruto movie, which, yes, is canon, we all know this, right? While scanning through Toneri's castle looking for Hinata, right? He's panning across the screen and he's got Sage Mode on. And we saw no footage of him prior to building up Sage Mode before going into the castle. So, yes, Naruto can enter Sage Mode instantly. And again, you can completely disagree with me on that if you want to, but I'm just saying he's done it. You can't tell me he can't do it, because he most definitely can. We obviously can't forget the fact that in Sage Mode, pulling up the battle against Pain, Naruto one-shotted 5 of the 6 paths of Pain with ease. Keep in mind, these are Rinnegan users, and Naruto as a sage is completely one-shotting them. And also, I mean, we all know that giant rhino summoning, right? That's a multi-ton rhino that he just caught by the horn and threw that motherfucker like it was absolutely nothing.
Rhino jizz.
So, it's just like, okay, dude, what are we even doing? We also can't forget in the Pain fight that he was able to amplify his Rasen Shuriken to become an AoE attack.
Oh, incredible, it expanded.
So, yeah. Bro can quite literally throw that thing now, and he can just go kaboom, make it expand and explode. Again, the Rasen Shuriken before to this point was only able to be used close range. Well, now he was able to throw it and he was able to expand it. It's like, bro, that jutsu is already incredibly destructive and he has the ability to expand it and explode it at will. But I got even more for you. Naruto's Sage Mode is so formidable, right, that Code had to team up with Borushiki, right, and take Shikamaru hostage to keep Naruto the fuck away from them. And here's the thing, right? Yes, was it limited Code? Yes, but here's the thing. Code is cited as somebody who's supposed to be a bigger threat than even Jigen. The same Jigen that destroyed Naruto in combat, right? And Naruto doesn't even have the Nine Tails anymore. He's just pulling up into the battle of Sage Mode, and Code's basically shitting himself. He refused to fight that man 1v1. He had to take a hostage and team up with, Borushiki to keep him away. Okay, so these are defeats that Naruto has without Kurama, but what can he still do, right? Like, we want to start talking about this because I think we need to clear a few things up as to what he can still do. And this is the first fact that Naruto does still possess chakra from all the tailed beasts. Now, I know what you're thinking. What? But Kurama is gone. Sorta. You know what I mean. Anybody who reads the Two Blue Vortex manga knows. But Kurama is gone from Naruto, right? And Kurama was the gatekeeper to all the other tailed beasts' chakra to keep everything stable, right? He's not with Naruto anymore. And yes, that is very true. However, something that people also seem to forget is before Kurama disappeared from Naruto, right? He gave him that one final fist bump. And we already know the fist bump is how the tailed beasts transferred their chakra to Naruto. So, even if Naruto is not able to use Kurama's chakra to activate, KCM anymore, he still has a bit of Kurama's chakra from that moment, which means he does still have all the chakra of the tailed beasts. So, with that being said, that does allow him to use the tailed beast abilities, to, at least to some extent, right? Like, he's able to use the tailed beast Rasengans and Rasen Shuriken still. Again, I know it's almost like a little theory sort of thing, but come on. We already know how the fist bump transfer of chakra works, okay? We can't ignore that fact. Something else that I think a lot of people forget that he can still do is infuse senjutsu into his normal ninjutsu attacks, right? Yes, okay, this is something that he did in the war arc first, because here's the thing, we knew that in the war arc, you couldn't touch the Ten Tails Jinchuriki, Obito, Madara, or anybody like that without Sage Mode. You needed Senjutsu energy in order to do it. So that's when Naruto during the war learned to add Senjutsu to his normal attacks in order to hit them. Naruto can still do this. And remember, he's already way stronger in base now, and his Sage Mode is also stronger as well. So this would be a lot easier for him to pull off. And here's the thing, like, and even if, like, some of the characters that are able to absorb jutsu right now, whether or not adding Senjutsu will bypass the chakra absorption ability is something I'm not too sure about. But even if they can still absorb a jutsu that is infused with the Senjutsu, right? Remember, back to the petrification defense. They absorb too much of that, they will end up becoming a toad and turning to stone, because of just what happens if you take in too much Sage energy and aren't able to control it. And again, another thing that Naruto can still do, especially with Sage Mode, is Frog Kata. Quite literally using the nature energy around you to hit your opponents without you ever landing any physical contact. This is incredibly useful and something he can still do, and it's something that he should still do, just for the simple fact that if his opponent he's facing doesn't have the sensory ability to predict that, to be able to sense that oncoming attack from Frog Kata, it's a very incredible, versatile way to fight. And obviously, we can't forget about it, the ultimate Talk No Jutsu. Seriously, if Naruto is in a stage where he just can't fight the opponent, they're too strong for him, he can just Talk No Jutsu his way out of it and bring him to the side of good, just like he did with Obito. Okay, and I still think there are some things that people still overlook with Naruto, and I want to go over that really quickly. First off, I want to talk about the fact that he has absolutely insane chakra control. I mean, seriously, base Naruto in the last right, and this is the movie that takes place 2 years after the Fourth Great Ninja War, and Naruto in base is already on another level, for the simple fact that with those puppets that were shooting at him, right, he was able to create the Rasen Shuriken, right? He was able to throw the Rasen Shuriken in base, which is a previous feat he could only do in either Sage Mode or with the assistance of Kurama in a Chakra Mode, and he did it in base, no problems whatsoever, and he was able to control that Rasen Shuriken to perfectly slice through all the puppets and go kaboom. So this gives us confirmation that he can create the Rasen Shuriken in base, and he's able to throw it in base, and it also just shows that he can control literally just how well that thing goes. Like, he can control exactly where it goes, and it still has that trigger of explosion whenever he needs to. Again, people also seem to forget this guy's taijutsu is on another level. Naruto's taijutsu, right, arguably rivals that of Might Guy, the same Might Guy that nearly killed Madara. In conclusion, Naruto, even without Kurama, is still an absolute monster. His growth as the 7th Hokage has placed his base power and Sage Mastery beyond the level of Kaguya, effectively making him a god among shinobi. He wasn't sealed away by Kawaki because he was too weak to contend with the current threats in the world. No, he was sealed away because he's just too damn strong, and they had to get him out of the story, otherwise he'd be clapping cheeks. With that being said, I've been Mr. Pizza. This has been another anime power scaling video. If you disagree with anything I said, cool, I don't care. And yeah, I'll catch you all in the next one. Reese's Pieces, everyone.